Well, hello. It's a beautiful day. I've been out for a couple hours. It was so warm in the morning. It must be, I don't know, it's like maybe 10 now. And it must be around 20, I guess, by now. A while back it was 18, perfect biking weather. Now it's getting a little warm. I saw something on France 24 this morning during coffee, and this Dutch patient in Switzerland, they have this amazing technology. They put implants in your motor cortex, both hemispheres, and they have a digital bridge down your spinal cord and other sensors on your legs and muscles. And the man can walk. It's hard. He has to use a Zimmer frame, high-tech Zimmer frame, nice one, but he can walk, and he's building up neural connections that he hadn't used for years in his legs, nerve connections, building muscle, and they're working on technology for hands and arms. So amazing, really amazing. And it shows you what we can do. We know about the plasticity of the body, but we don't know much about, well, we do know a lot about plasticity when it comes to a person updating their beliefs based on engaging with evidence and information and experience, experimentation and so forth. So science, the scientific method, processes and community versus pure ideological or informational in terms of either cultural or propaganda or any kind of information that people orchestrate and produce purely for what it's going to give them or get for them. So obviously the Marshall McLuhan stuff and the manufacturing consent stuff and all the many great books that have been written in the last 20 years or so about these things, these mechanisms, institutions, psychological expressions and processes and whatnot. So it's amazing how stubborn we can be. If you love Rachel Maddow or CNN or Tucker Carlson or whatever, you might just feel like everything they say is more or less cool because you trust them, you like them. And they may also confirm some settled beliefs that you already have. So after that, they become a part of your identity. And we naturally look for confirmation of our prior beliefs. Few of us reach out to find out if our prior beliefs are wrong, actively, purposefully, by engaging in different angles or sides of an issue or whatever. Like you're going to spend 2 years delving into the deepest, darkest secrets of the conservative tradition over the course of centuries, how it's changed and evolved. Nah, you're not going to do that. You're going to love Anderson Cooper till the day you die. If you read Financial Times, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, New York Times, I'm speaking from an American perspective, obviously, then you'll have a certain perspective. If you're a professional journalist and knew the company decades ago, and you would be able to make comparisons and you would be able to point out how that company had changed, the New York Times, for example, over a period of time. But you have to understand, they're big corporations and they carry water for big corporations, primarily because they're profits first. And so if I'm a corporation, and my PR team and advertising team and whatnot want to convey certain ideas, particularly for market reasons, right? To sell, to earn money. There are ways to ensure that the narrative goes your way. And it wasn't, maybe, you know, when Hearst was a newspaper man, it might have been a little different. But obviously it was different, but you know, still. And forever and a day, right? What does the press serve in actuality, actually? Well, it doesn't serve the readers necessarily. And obviously advertisers are extremely important, and today we have different kinds of online advertising and print advertising, fake editorials and opinion pieces that are actually advertisements, on and on. Anyway, you have an editorial policy, a certain way of doing business and operating, certain in management and, you know, employee handbooks and HR. Then you have these big stars who are pandering to a certain audience. And these audiences have literally been built, constructed. You're being fed information, and bit by bit, you don't even realize that how it's changed you, how it's shifted you. You can't see it. It's a gradual process, and you take it for granted because it becomes part of your belief system, part of your worldview and your identity. Once you get to a certain level of that buy-in, they got you. Loyal consumer, they got your eyeballs, your attention, your money, your data. And they're laughing. And all the while you take it for granted that you're consuming the right stuff. Everybody says garbage in, garbage out. But who actively tries to pursue information from heterodox or different points of view that are trusted, that come from experts, from intellectuals, from people who have spent decades in a certain field or whatever? Scientific consensus is not the same as the kind of beliefs we have and ideological buy-in we carry with us. Not the same thing. So if you have been listening to, you know, I'm not a big fan of Putin or Xi or I like Taibbi and Patrick Lawrence, people like that. I think they do the work. But I'm not a cheerleader, I'm not a pom-pom boy. I like Chris Hedges. He has a point of view, a worldview that's important. Maybe some details are a little askew in my opinion or whatever, but I can go to extremes. I can read people from extreme backgrounds, try to understand what they're on about and what their people, their audience, their culture, their clique likes about it. I want to see if there's any there, and most of the time there is some. I wind up kind of rubber banding back to my more or less core beliefs and way of looking at things. And I've changed over the years because I've had to. And since I've lived in countries with different cultures, I had to change. I'm not the type of person that can live in a bubble in my corporation or whatever and just think all the people in the native land are idiots because they don't do things our way. It's just, every time you do that, you're fucking up. Big time. But, you know, gunboat diplomacy still exists, obviously. And people really should learn about neoliberalism and what that means, how that term is used and applied and so on. But if a person's totally caught up in a certain information ecosystem, they're not going to go to the consilienceproject.org and try to figure out, you know, delve into these ideas and figure out where they come from and whether there might be some good bits there and some bad bits. They're going to take the party line, absorb it, parrot it out, regurgitate it, puke it up, and think they have an opinion, an honest, real, well thought through, even maybe creative or unusual opinion. And they don't. Not even close. And because you identify as a liberal or whatever, you tend to think, well, you know, I'm better than the other side. I know we're not perfect, but, you know, those people over there, they're all Nazis. And then you wonder why those people over there hate you. So yeah, I used to give people shit all the time, mostly in a joking way, but you know, misogynist, fascist, whatever. And these words are overused, toxic masculinity, whatever. But they're there for a reason, and they do have a context in which they're profound. They have profound meaning, and they're profound linguistic tools for getting certain narratives across and for certain kinds of political debates and whatever. So it's nothing you can do, because if you present people with data, information, books, you want to ground them in existentialist philosophy or de Tocqueville or you know, the difference between Hobbes and Hume or anybody contemporary, you know, some writer for the New York Times versus Matt Taibbi or something. They won't crack a book or read a study or a paper or a PDF or articles that don't confirm their beliefs. They just write them off. And I see this all the time in social media because people cavalierly say, this guy's an outlier, so he's not worth paying any attention to, without having paid any attention to him. So the man has written 20 books, all 4, 5-star rated on Amazon and other platforms, is a professional with decades of experience, skin in the game, put his life on the line for whatever. You know, the real deal, motherfucker. And you're just a couch potato, little TV watching, cable news person. And you wouldn't give that guy the time of day because he's not Petraeus on CNN. How did that guy do in Afghanistan? The surge or whatever the fuck. How did that turn out? How's Afghanistan today? What did we get for the lives, the blood and treasure that we spent in Afghanistan? So have a look here real quick at this nice view. That's like Sugarloaf Mountain over there. Like Rio de Janeiro without Jesus. That little mountain there is just in front of northern Nazaré. So I'm trying to find this quinta down here. I wanted to go do something different. Look at this beautiful panorama. Wow. Really nice. And I had another visitor and I drank too much wine, so I'm bloated. I gotta rebuild my microbiome, get some good night's sleep, ride the bike, burn out all the sugars in my muscles, liver. It's hard to moderate when you're with friends who enjoy having a glass of wine or a pint of beer. Yeah, so anyway, it's the same thing with sides of the pandemic. Is there anything that the government did that was goofy? And most people would say, yeah, sure there is. They kind of muffed it. But we got through this particular one okay, and then there's other extreme sides where Marjorie Taylor Greene said she doesn't wear the vaccine. She didn't wear the vaccine. And her new boyfriend was saying, oh, I put a mask on once in the airport, but took it right off. This kind of thing. Oh, masks, oh God. If you're steeped in that stuff, the cognitive dissonance, the baggage, the cultural baggage and your personal identity, your emotional connection with your beliefs are going to make it impossible for you to triangulate through various sources of information to ferret out the truth or something closer to the truth. Something evidence-based, fact-based, with good data sources behind it and good analysis, expert analysis from people who have been there. If you led an invasion of Iraq and then another one and spent time in that profession, and then you have a point of view about the current war, you probably have a fairly decent perspective on shit, And the fact that for whatever reasons you didn't line up to join one of the news networks or couldn't because of your heterodox views, it's not your fault that you still communicate. And I think you can learn a lot from these people. But everyone will just hand wave them away, just write them off, forget it, nothing. There's no there. He's too much of an outlier. He's not popular enough. It's like somebody comes to your video, they see you have 2 likes and 1,000 subscribers, they're like, I'm not gonna watch this guy. But some other guy's eating shit, getting tons of views for eating shit. And click. People just don't want to engage with what's not popular. This is a well-known fact. And lots of behavioral scientists and so on have done a lot of research in this kind of thing. And it's obvious, if you listen to pop music. I still believe that when I was young, there was a big difference between Carole King's voice and Joni Mitchell and Joan Armatrading, just to name a few lady singers. And now we lost Tina Turner, and she was unique. I mean, you could just tell who these singing. And now I know I'm not into pop music anymore, but it's difficult to ferret out the difference, It's partly because of the way it's produced, obviously. But it's also, I'm wondering if I'm going to actually make it to where I want to go. I might have to use a map. But this is very pretty, so I'll continue for a bit. Yeah, so it seemed like people had unique voices, they had unique producers in the booth, good advisors and people who helped them manage their creative career, and they could be unique and develop a brand that was absolutely signature. As opposed to, I'm a producer that makes this kind of music because ka-ching, ka-ching. I'm not really deep in music business or anything. But you know, formulaic, paint by the numbers movies and whatnot. And then you go to a platform like Mubi and see all these old independent films and classics and new films that just don't get a huge audience. They just don't. They just don't get it. So, I wonder where this place is, man. So, and it gets boring, you know. I mean, a lot of these action movies now are just, you know, video games masquerading as video games presented as a film that you don't get to interact with. All chase scene, you know, 30 minutes of chase scene. Bullets flying, people dying, all the bad guys get clipped. He's just like, oh, the body count. Oh, so much fun. I love it. Oh, so much. Oh, the body count. Oh, God, it's so exciting. All right, I'm going to see if I can find out where I am and if I can find that quinta. Yeah, so I lost my train of thought. But basically, that's about it. You know, I mean, you're not going to change your mind. And you're going to take it for granted that your information sources are absolutely true. And even in really complex stories where there's tons and tons of fog, real foggy, real noisy, messy. Now, what the hell, man? This just doesn't make any sense. I don't like it. I don't like where I'm going. Well, that place might be a little bit too far for me today. Didn't bring my charger. But I'm going to go that direction anyway and see if I can get a lead on the correct road. And next time, it's a beautiful quinta where they make wine, and it's a hotel. It has a really nice garden. I was gonna go over there and make video. Maybe I'll do it with a good camera one of these days. But I thought it'd be fun to ride over there. I guess it's around an hour from here. So I'm worried that I'm not using the battery, but I'm worried that getting back will be scary. Yeah, so you can't change people's minds. They're not gonna do the work. You have to read stuff. It might be torturous for you to look at somebody else's way of thinking. Like, I know it's disgusting, but let's say you were a rhetorician studying rhetoric or something, and history, and you were doing a paper on the rhetorical style of Hitler's speeches. You know, everyone would tell you you were a disgusting human being and blah blah blah. But there's probably a lot to be learned. And there probably has been a lot written already about that. It's kind of a stupid example, but yeah, so that kind of thing. And we're losing our history. I mean, you will live, in my opinion. I have this stinking intuition that bit by bit, day by day, slowly, we're going to be conditioned to believe everything the Oracle says. And that's going to be it for us. IQs around the world are going down. They were going up for so long. We may be at the end of this particular global system, ideological system we know as neoliberal financialized capitalism. And it's a global thing. it can only exist as a global thing. Now, I'm not saying that, global trade or, I'm a globalist in a certain way and not in other ways. But that's a nice little bit of dirt. So yeah, we're slowly we're going to be conditioned. It's terrible to feel, because there's so much conspiratorial nonsense surrounding digital currency and whatnot. But if you had all the power and you think you're smart because you're super rich, and you need more control because you know what the people need better than people do. I mean, the democracy idea just goes in the toilet. And eventually, I mean, we're all tracked to various degrees, and there's facial recognition everywhere, and you're in a million strangers' snapshots from every time you go out to a park or whatever. There's millions of people taking pictures, and you're in hundreds of them, thousands, tens of thousands maybe. But everything's smart. So my device now is tracking my ride, so I can look at it on the map. Remember for next time where I went wrong. Like, I shouldn't have turned here. That was a big mistake, huge mistake. So if I had gone straight, everything would have been perfect. So it's useful, it's a good tool, but eventually you're going to be fed constantly, and it's not going to be just for you, because it knows better than you do what brand of mobile phone you need or smartwatch. It's been coming a long time. Much has been written. Oh, there's a kennel there. Dogs and cats, good to know. So, who or what algorithms developed by who is going to take all the information and direct us back at us? I mean, they have that saying, who's going to watch the watchers? We're way beyond that now. It's kind of a joke. We're so far beyond that. I'm going to cheat. I'm cheating. Because I want to go through this town. Anyway, there's going to be a lot of sophisticated stuff coming at you, and you're going to think you thought of it, all of it. And the fact that you don't know how anything works is not even going to be, you're not even going to think about it. I mean, day by day, we're forgetting how to think. And attention deficit disorder, whatever. We can't sit down and read a book for an hour and a half, fidgeting around and getting all nervous and uncomfortable because you're not having hypernormal stimuli coming at you. You're not going to go parse the details, look at the nuances, try to understand the mechanics. Somebody has a tiny little hobby plane, little tiny plane, and has a pilot's license and brags about it to fighter pilots and commercial airline pilots. They laugh at him. It's a joke. But you're proud that you can fly a plane, so you know a little bit about avionics, but you're not an expert. You know a hell of a lot more about avionics than I do. Of course. So please tell me what you know. It's very interesting, but you don't know much. And we don't start our conversation by saying, I just have a little private airplane and I've been flying since I was a kid, but you know, I know a little bit about avionics, but I'm not like you. And just be a little bit humble and wait and see what the other people are going to let you in on. If you give them a little bit of respect for 30 years of hard work. Just a tiny bit. Oh, Tucker Carlson, you know, Matt Taibbi. Oh, these heterodox journalists, they're independent. Well, they've been doing hard work, good work for years, some of them winning Nobel Prizes and whatever, even though they're not cool now. And just write them off, because it's not what you're being fed day by day. I mean, you're going to just think and the oracle's going to tell you. Well, this is how the United States honored its treaties with indigenous tribal nations in what we now know as the Americas during the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th century, 19th in particular. These were the arrangements, agreements made and broken over the years. I mean, it means nothing. So if you're going to say, we didn't say that we were going to support a neutral Ukraine. We didn't say that. We never said that. You know, and you have just tons and tons of libraries of information about all these treaties and whatnot, agreements. And you say, but William T., you idiot, these things they're not worth the paper they're written on. They never are. And you're right to a certain degree. But if you were a peacemaker, you would honor your commitments, your promises, and you try to make people feel comfortable and safe so that you don't have to kill a lot of people. Wouldn't you do that for your children and your spouse? Try to make them feel safe and secure. And put them in a situation where they don't have to be killed or kill or be killed. But no, you're watching the war on TV. It's so exciting. Look at all that shiny equipment. Our tanks are so fucking good. Kaboom, kaboom. It's hilarious. I go through all these different browsers and VPNs and whatnot just to get a picture of a destroyed NATO piece of equipment. You can't get it if you go through Google or whatever. Bing. It's not there, man. You understand? It's like Russia has a war economy. Ukraine has a war economy. Ukraine's war economy is getting money from the United States and equipment from NATO countries and the UK. Russia is having to produce whatever the fuck it hurls at Ukraine. It's a war economy. Our war economy is informational. It's make sure that people know that what we're doing is right. And that nobody stands out or tries to go against the grain. Make sure. And that's the thing. So, you know, it's hilarious. People just like, yeah, every time a Ukrainian guy sprains his ankle, 1,000 Russian soldiers get turned into mincemeat. They get ruined and destroyed. And when they say that, they're not even thinking of Russian soldiers or workers as human beings. or that Russia has a culture and a history and an identity. It's just that Putler's bad, you see, period. I mean, come on, man. Putler's bad. I'm gonna go down this road. Why? Because it looks nice. There's a beautiful woman there walking by the garden field. A little stand of money trees. Pine. So that's what you're gonna get. And there's only one way you can argue, because it's foggy. It's complex. And you don't have any good data. So if you ask General so-and-so or journalist thus and such for their sources of data, they'll tell you. And you can look into it. Is it a good source or a bad source? Obviously, they're not going to tell you top secret stuff or anything that'll get someone in trouble. But basic, databases, geolocation websites, and on and on and on, they'll give you that information. You can say, well, it looks pretty good. At least they've done some work. You're not going to get that from some general on CNN. They're not going to tell you their sources ever. Or on the website, somebody said it's been reported that. It's going to be vague. And you'll swallow it. Because they're working hard to hit you from every angle. So that you're a pom-pom boy for the war. And that you're excited and self-righteous about it, and feel like an intellectual superstar, a critical thinker, somebody with, his lights on, and you'll be proud. And you'll look at Bouliamti and say, the poor fella, he got all caught up in the conspiracy theories, the poor guy. Oh, but he's cute, he's funny, I guess, so I'll let him go, What can you do, the poor guy? And you do your hand-waving Dyer thing. We go, look at all the books. Yeah, read a few means nothing. In next year, the year after that, this election in the United States is going to be the biggest shit show ever. The most insane, crazy circus in the history of civilization. It's going to be wild. The layers of bullshit that are going to come from every side. It's going to be Trump derangement syndrome 4.0. Everyone's going to flog their conspiracy theories and throw out misinformation and idiotic narratives. All sides. And no one will know what's what. They'll just go with what they're comfortable with and what they know. And that's more than enough. Oh, this is a very nice little part of the world here. Do I go up or down? I think I go up. Yeah, it's a private road. So, it's going to be insane. And it's just going to be one of those things that's going to drive America apart more than it is already. There's the MAGA people and the other different types of, the neoliberals are the players, and it doesn't matter what they do. They feed us all. But the so-called nice liberal people, it's really going to be one of these situations where you live in a city, you're like this, you live in the country, you're like that. And then people are going to want to start their little DAOs and pretend like they can be independent and fly above all the bullshit. The shit piled up so fast in Vietnam, you needed wings to keep above it. It's going to be insane. And if you really take it seriously, it's like, but look at all the great things that have been accomplished since Biden became president. Isn't it wonderful? And if DeSantis or some other person becomes president, all of those good things are, well, yeah, there is a difference. So Chomsky had an argument for voting for Biden, even though he doesn't like Biden. You know, lesser of two evils, there's arguments to be had. But they're not in control. They're really not in power. They're puppets. They can cause a lot of grief and they can do things. They have a certain amount of power, but not much these days. You have to toe the line or you just don't get to keep your nice office. A great deal of pressure. I saw that movie Nike yesterday. Really good. Matt Damon. And you just see a little slice of corporate life and the trade-offs people have to make in marketing, getting endorsement deals and so on. And about the Michael Jordan thing, Air Jordan. You know, you want to keep your office and still take risks and follow your intuition and whatnot. You're gonna have to be willing to lose. But I think the way we're gonna lose our freedom and democracy and whatever, it's gonna be this slow, imperceptible thing that's been going on for 30 years, since the Reagan administration, at least. I mean, people were aware of it way before then. But, you know, look at the situationist philosophers in France and whatnot. But obviously, even the new right of France, that started earlier than you think. And you know, it's been eating away at us for quite a while. You know, watching TV commercials in the 50s and now getting push notifications on your smartwatch. And bit by bit, it changes you. It molds you, it shapes you. Unless you have discipline from a long time ago. I mean, you develop discipline in terms of your thinking and how you think, basically. Your thought processes in terms of noise and biases and thinking fast and slow and understanding a bit of Robert Sapolsky, you know, biology and neurology and social science, and combining all these different things together to understand how they interweave and interact and interrelate to create a complex thing like a human being with the kind of consciousness and language we have and social skills, a complex social animal that makes things, amazing things. You have to have had those skills, or at least been aware that they existed and tried to develop them. You may not be the best statistical thinker in the world, or you may not be able to do the math, but you know it exists, what it is, how complex it is, and then when you hear an expert talk about it, you can give them some respect and try to learn a little something. And then if you decide you want to learn the calculus, you can go and do that online very easily. Everyone can. But what good would it do, right? Spend more time getting money and signaling to people that you're cool. You want more friends, more attention, so you have to be money. People have to think you're good for something, not just for your company or because you help them or care about them, or maybe you're sharing a project together that's meaningful. Nothing like that, no community stuff. But, you know, you got to be money. People have to think that if they're hanging around you, they're going to get some superpowers or rich. Ooh, this is one of the nicest places I've been in a while. Holy cow. Just goes on and on through this pine forest in the dunes. Man, what a great location. Soak that in. Glad I put on my sunscreen today. And I have some sports drink. No sugar. Yeah, usually my heart rate now is 100. When I was going up the hills, it was about 120, and usually it's between 100 and 109. But after I have a drinking spell of 4 or 5 days with friends, you know, like one day off and then back out eating and drinking, you have to go on a few bike rides before you get back down to the lower heart rate. It's poison, but I love it. Doesn't love me. Shouldn't love it too much. Glad I don't. So it's going to chip away at us, and one day you're going to wake up and you're going to know. It's not 1984. It's not Brave New World. It's worse than that. Because, I mean, some people think that AIs are going to kill us all, but I just don't know how they do that unless, you know, we get really stupid and like program humanoid robots like Ex Machina or Westworld. Then we're fucking dead. But I still think you can, I may be stupid or, you know, not knowledgeable enough, but I think you could unplug those machines. But I do understand that at some point it would become so integral to business, big business, to daily life and whatnot, that you wouldn't be able to turn off the machines. I mean, it's like, if we turn it off, the whole economy is going to go to hell. The stock market's going to crash. We're all going to die. That's what they mean by AI apocalypse. They don't really care about you. It's like the system. It's going to be fucked. Look at that. A little green pond. And over here you got a little picnic area where you can, you know, make some spuds and burn some meat, some rashers, fried eggs, chicky poo joy juice. Whatever's your pleasure, or you can just have your salads, your Mediterranean salads, baba ganoush, and sit there. And you have a nice country, you know, dude over there who watches all these parks, keeps everything good. They even have a couple different barbecues over there. Well, it's really nice. This is definitely on the to-do list. I gotta get some friends to meet over here. I should pop a pin on this place, man. But I have it on my smartwatch. So, yeah, the whole system goes down. We're in a global neoliberal financialized capital system, and if we change it, everything goes to hell. Well, maybe, maybe not. Maybe a different system would be even better for everybody. Oh no, can't imagine that. You know, when I hear a billionaire say, instead of investing in a whole bunch of shit and calling it philanthropy, like Bill Gates does, or any of them really, if they say, you know, I think the system within which I became wealthy and powerful is not really the best one for the world, and I'd like to see if we can change it. Oh man, if that happens, I'm going to be amazed. You know, it's a big trend. Because the only way this is going to change is if the players want to change the game, because you can't. You're not going to have the will, the strength, the power, the desire to get yourself in trouble to shift things, much less lose your life. You think somehow all the Russian soldiers were brainwashed and they're over there getting killed just because every single soldier in the Russian army is a criminal from the Gulag. Well, it's not true, but you can think so if you want. And all the Ukrainian officials that are siphoning billions of dollars off of the aid funds, they're all good guys. Squeaky clean. They're all going to heaven. Not true. It's never that simple. So we're going to have our brains bit by bit just taken over with all these things. And we become so dependent on it that we won't even be able to imagine anything else, period. And you'll think everything's great until something happens, and then there's going to be a big, big fall, you know? Because the risks are big. You say, no, man, it's all going to be good. I'm doing a piece now where I have a really cool optimist character, and then I have a kind of a social critic character, and I think you'll like it. It's going to take a year to finish. But yeah, techno-optimists and all that kind of singularity stuff and transhumanism, and I mean, you know, they hate LGBTQ. I just don't see it, because all of this is interconnected, and we're human beings. We're part of the biological ecosystem and infrastructure of this whole planet. We're part and parcel of it. I'm not a Gaia guy, but I do understand where that's coming from and think it's a useful way of looking at things, especially if you didn't grow up in a traditional community that regarded the land as sacred and knew how to live and manage water tables and all that kind of stuff. Wow. This is crazy. Crazy, I tell you. Crazy. Jesus, I'm way the heck out there, man. But these are pretty flat roads, so I don't have to use my battery. Some highway there. Holy cow. And you know I can get out to the ocean from here, and I'll bet it's gorgeous. So that's what's going to happen, folks. You won't even notice it. And then anybody, any goofball, you know, they don't even get ostracized. They get shut down. I'm thinking of stories in China that I haven't necessarily verified from any friends living there. But the idea of the social credit scores and whatnot, where you can't get a train ticket or a plane ticket or even leave your town if you have a bad social credit score. So in the old days, we lived in smaller communities and nobody wanted to get ostracized. That was worse than death. But now it'll be something like that. So it's not the overlords, but the application, the system, the algorithms will tell you whether or not you can do anything. And that's going to be weird. That's going to be weird. And you won't even be able to be mad about it, because you'll have no power. And if you try to get mad, it'll just restrict you even more until you're arrested. You won't notice it's coming. So whatever you need, get rich, buy all those things you need, get sorted out, so that you can remember the good old days when you thought you had free will, and you thought you had agency, and you thought you lived in a democracy, and you thought all of those wonderful things were real. Whether or not they ever were, I don't know. But yeah. Hoo-wee. What do you think, folks? Just riding through a pine forest. There's a little village over there. I guess I'll go to that village. Yeah, why not? Yeah, to me it's like William T has the freedom to go ride his bicycle. I'm just so blessed and fortunate that I can do this. It freaks me out every time I think about it. I don't have much. I got just enough, I guess. And I have to spend the rest of whatever healthy years I have. I wish I could do more. I don't think my art's gonna have much impact, but that's all I can do. So you're gonna feel very powerful, very self-righteous when you start to drink the Kool-Aid. You know, all these red pills, blue pills, gray pills, whatever. You know, there's something to these stories, obviously, or they wouldn't be so compelling to people, to audiences. And unfortunately, we're getting to the point now where the technology, the techno arms race is so intense. People can walk again. Brain interfaces and the miracle of that spinal bridge, digital bridge. CRISPR-Cas9, you know, I've talked about all this shit. And the AI thing, right? So it's happening so quick and you don't know anything about it. You're just reading the newspaper, Wired magazine or whatever, and Science Daily, Nature, National Geographic. And in the old days, you know, you'd read that, learn something. You'd say, I learned something. I can apply that. I can use that. I can understand that. But these days, it's just like, you're going to live forever. You're going to be able to walk again. Demographics arguments are really fascinating to me. Because we live on a finite planet. But under our paradigm, the neoliberal capital thing, we need growth. We have to sell more shit. And we can't pay people more to do it because that wouldn't give us power to make the shit we want to make. We have to privatize everything. And then people have to borrow money so they can buy the shit. And then we use that debt to make more money for ourselves that we're trading through derivatives and whatnot. All these scams. It's not for you, my friend. You're just cannon fodder. You work your butt off. You save a tiny bit of money. Look at all this shit. This is a beautiful neighborhood, beautiful freaking village. Work your butt off, second divorce, whatever. Just trying to get the kids out of the house, then I can be free. And I mean, you know, it's probably better than the 17th century for peasants like us, but still. So, those were pretty little bells. So I'm sure that if I turn left, I'd probably hit a beach somewhere. You want a view of this, you want Igreja, Cemetery, Liga dos Amigos de Fanhais. That's one little town. This looks a nice little town. I should go up here real quick. Oh! It's some part of Nazaré, is all. Didn't really go that far. I could keep going. There's a restaurant, a gastropub called Mad. If I go another hour down the road, hell, I'm probably pretty close to the place I wanted to go. Ah, yeah, I know where I am now. I'm not gonna go there right now. I know exactly where I am. Yeah, so this is nice here. Any of you high net worth friends of mine? You want to live in a pretty affluent community? Good value. 90210 here, baby. Your kind of people. A lifestyle you have been accustomed to. Get your butt over here. It's going to be a gentle place to watch the globe heat up. So we invest just a pittance in battery technology and alternative energy and whatnot. A pittance. But we got no end to infinite amounts of money to build hypersonic warhead delivery systems. No problem. Tanks with enough computer chips to fill a container. Complex software. Big business, baby. You gotta teach these people how to do their software. Ponto do Agua. Oh man, it's like a lovely little area. It would be fun sometime to go, oh, these are really nice little cafes here. I like it. Here's a little traditional restaurant. I do like this side of things. So, you know, things are going to have to get pretty ugly for your average Joe before the players decide they're going to put money into other things. It has to threaten them. Putin, I think he's pretty hard to get to. So he can do what he's got to do. As soon as you have anything threatening the big shots, you're going to have a shift. But it's not going to be you. It's not going to be pitchforks. People don't have the balls for pitchforks anymore. You have to believe that you have nothing left. This is nice. I'll go back that way. But first, I'm going to look at this tiled home. Ooh, I like it. So, they're going to decide to shift when they damn well have to. Just like, you know, every oil company is going to take every subsidy they can get to drill the hell out of the Arctic until the last minute when their business really, really becomes untenable and the governments can't afford to throw money their way anymore and land. And then they're going to say, you know, I mean, offshoring is great. You let those people dig up their land and you take their shit and build stuff with it. And then the poor people in Congo and Nigeria, they've got to have 2 mobile phones and 2 TV sets and 2 cars. God knows. Can't live without it. So everybody becomes more materialistic. The markets open up. The markets are opening up. Hello, little doggy. He's gonna chase me. Hi, doggy poop. You're so cute. That dog was cute. If you're gonna talk about something that's cute, you don't just say cute, because that's not cute. You have to say cute. You have to draw that out a bit. Cute. You're so cute. Wow. This is nice. Very, very nice. Hello, doggies. How are you? Well, I've opened up a whole new area to explore. So I think I've done my job. If I get too silly about this, I'll keep riding for another hour. And then it'll be too much. After all my partying with my friends. Hey, kitty. I'll have to be good to myself. Another few days I'll be able to do a long ride. Not just one of these 70, 80 kilometer things. Try to hit 100 clicks. Yeah, you do 40 without the battery and 40 with the battery, and you're good. You can go 80 kilometers. It's a fairly nice circumference for exploring the world. So there's not going to be a whole lot. Every time I see the investment they make in carbon capture or something, it's like, in big headlines. So-and-so invested $1 billion with your pinky to the side of your mouth. In carbon capture, $1 billion. Oh my God, and of course, $1 billion is nothing today, nothing. Can't even call yourself high net worth if you're under $1 billion. But, you're going, oh yeah, that'll do it. You read different things from experts and they're like, ooh, that's a nice view of that mountain. You can really see the mountain from here. It's a different perspective because you're far enough away that you can see the top of it, that hill over there. And usually I'm too close to it to see the top. That's why sometimes when I ride up there, I keep thinking, I thought it was smaller than that. So they throw a little chump change to greenwash. So take a little green shower. Not that kind of green. Green. Vegan green. No such thing as a ruminator burping. Not gonna happen. Zero methane, baby. No nitrogen fertilizers. Clean as a whistle. But cruelty-free. Yeah, they throw chump change, take a little green shower. Make you feel good. Gotta stick something in there in the headlines. I always do on Glow Packers Facebook page. Mainstream stuff. You can get it there. Happy things about, how they invested $1 billion in carbon capture. Whoa. But the experts are like, yeah, if the world invested $3 trillion a year for a while, we'd be sorted. Or that's kind of the idea. Maybe not. But they tend to have that. Well, from my reading, it was something like that anyway. And assuming that money is going to help you find a miraculous technology. Fusion's so close. Just need a little more money and time. Well, maybe it is. Who knows? But maybe not. Maybe that carbon capture miracle is never going to happen. In the meantime, it's pedal to the metal, all in on the neoliberal thing. Stop recording. Yeah, so we're all in on the current system, especially the pom-pom boys who subscribe to Bloomberg Business and The Economist and whatnot, and watch Rachel Maddow, those people. They're all in. Everything's going to be good. My perfect, beautiful children are going to grow up and have much better lives than I ever had. You wait and see, Booty MT. They're going to do great. That carbon capture stuff, not to mention uploading your brain into a perfect carbon fiber body. You know, I have fantasized about having legs that were like carbon fiber. It'd be so cool. Just, you know, have the core really strong. Like, I'll be able to walk for centuries, never get tired. All right, so if I turn left here, I can go to Mad, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to go back this way. Awesome, great to know. So now I'll have this dialed in for next time. This road's pretty much a straight shot. So I'm still not using juice. I'm tempted to go down and show you guys this beautiful village by the water, but I won't do that now. I'm crossing the A8 expressway now, just so you know. You can drive to Leiria, you can go to Porto, you can go back towards Lisboa. And these are beautiful highways, man. Great infrastructure. Very comfortable to drive on. Love it. Yeah, so we'll throw chump change, and in the meantime, it's all in on convincing all of you all, especially pom-pom boys, that we live in the best of all possible worlds, and there's no other way to do things. And you know, you gotta, every freaking 6 months or so, you have to read all of Steven Pinker's books. Better angels of our nature. You know? The Enlightenment. You gotta read that stuff over and over again just to remember how great everything is. And it is pretty damn great. And then you have to go on the consilienceproject.org and you have to listen to some Daniel Schmachtenberger. And you have to listen to Jim Rutt Show and The Great Simplification with Nate Higgins. You have to, in my opinion, stellar, to, you know, get the other side. Because the economics don't work at this scale, folks. When we have the carbon issue. And they probably don't work just from a sociological, psychological, human, you know, level. They probably, this scale is so problematic. Which is why we have Machiavellianism and people who said, just human nature, man, war, dude, hey, serve your country, something bigger than yourself. Can't think peace because you're a pussy. Sorry, girls, that's old language, old language. Shouldn't have used it. Popped out. You're a weakling. You don't understand how important warfare is. Well, something bigger than myself would be peace, love, and understanding. What's so funny about it? You know, it's like, I love Nietzsche. I love the way that Zarathustra speaks and the way he thinks about religion. And most people who haven't studied Nietzsche don't understand really how he thinks about it. But the world would be a better place if people were more like the mythical Jesus or whatever. I don't care if you believe in the magical Jesus, that's fine. But, you know, the ideas in the New Testament. And there are good people that have done a lot of, research and good history, archaeology and so on, about ancient civilization, and how our belief systems have come about, where they come from and so on. It's really interesting to dig through all that stuff and understand that it rhymes, and it has rhythm, and it comes from different things, ancient civilizations, and it's different in different parts of the world. They have radically different values, but we're still human beings. We're rivalrous, and at scale we fight for things. But right now, we either put it all together and live with each other in peace, or we cease to exist. I really believe this. And of course, there's no reason you should care, because knowing this isn't going to change a thing. But, you might realize that if you made an effort to be more Christ-like and less judgmental Christian, trying to proselytize and keep people out of hell, you might have a better quality of life. And sheep and wolves, you might not be able to turn the other cheek all the time, but it's good to have that as the foundation of what your desired behavior should be. Morals and ethics, wherever you get them from. And yes, ways of life like Taoism and Buddhism and whatever. Understanding desire. Gee, that guy understood things, that Buddha dude, long time ago. And the pre-Socratics. You can go and understand how radically different, unique, Socrates and Aristotle and Plato and all those people. They were a shift, an evolution of thinking. And it's good to know that. And, the values of the Holy Roman Empire, and also how religion is a tool. It's a sociological, socio-cultural, and psychological tool, just like the algorithms and the AIs are going to be the new tools. And they're going to tell us what to believe. All the magic's gone, baby. Magical thinker. I used to say that all the time. You're a magical thinker, dude. Even when you can't do the chemistry, you can't do the science, you're not at the bench, you don't know how to research, you can't read a science paper, you don't understand the numbers, you're not a statistical thinker. You have no skills, but science, it's cool. Yeah, I fucking love science. Nice blog, got lots of advertising, makes money. So yeah, I fucking love science, bro. But a little magic in life is a good thing. I've come to believe that. A little humility. Like not being able to be really happy about not knowing everything. And thinking maybe we won't know everything. I mean, really feeling good about that. Understanding that you're an animal, you're a mammal. And thinking that the soil biology is a sacred thing and should be tended to and taken care of. And if 20% of the population of the United States were good stewards of land, took care of their land in their own special way, in their own regional way, minded the water tables like the Native Americans, did agriculture in a way that produced healthier, more vibrant, more vivacious, ecosystems and all that kind of thing. Loved animals, loved plants, loved people. It's like, it wouldn't hurt. Or we can all just, go to the city and fret about our gig economy jobs and all the shit we need to get and all our posing and virtue signaling and all that. And just freak. this slow life. So I think of these people who are like gentle men and gentle women, and gentle its and thems and us's and whatever. I mean men and women, regardless of sexuality or how you identify, who live in community with people, deep community, and love life on earth, cherish it, and in particular their local space, and want it to thrive, want it to live, put all of their energy into it. And they're also technical people. They understand engineering and computing, and they're well read. They have a library in their town and they use it, and they have positive rituals and parties and dances and music. And they actually sing together and make music together. And they're smart, intellectual people like they used to be back in the old days. I don't believe in golden eras. You know that. I don't believe in that. But there were times and places probably where you had gentle men and gentle women. You know, these so-called Renaissance man, you know, people like that. Who were pretty amazing and gave a shit, really cared, and really worked hard day in and day out. And they knew it was a lifelong vocation to make their world thrive, to make it live, to infuse it with life, and to take care of that life, and to understand it is sacred, that in a certain sense it is Gaia. The earth lives, it has consciousness through us, through the living things, the networks, the webs of life that exist on this beautiful planet. As far as we know, it's the only one like it in the universe. It doesn't matter how you want to do the math on that, as far as we know right now. And Fermi's paradox. But what a life that would be, wouldn't it? You have 10 people in your community that you're really tight with, and you know everyone else in the community fairly well, and you trust them, and you work together, you make things thrive. And you have festivals, and you do dances, you make music, instead of just consuming shit all the time and making landfill. You know, that's what I dream about. That's what I hope to see as I get older. I want to see that trend. So if I make it to 70 or 75, you know, I want to see that trend. I will die so happy. I get all emotional thinking about it. I tear up. Being on my deathbed, seeing gentle men and gentle women in communities across the world making the earth live. Because the earth will live better and faster if we take care of it. Now, we can all die and let the earth do what it's got to do. That's one way. But if we want to fix it and continue to live and thrive, then we need to be active participants in that project. Otherwise, you know, you have that human beings are evil, they should all go extinct. Well, that's fine, but who's going to go extinct first? You going to raise your hand? Me and mine, we're going to die. That incredibly profound protest of the Vietnamese monk pouring gasoline over himself during the Vietnam War, lighting himself on fire, and just sitting there in perfect stillness, burning. Yeah, you can make your sacrifice. You don't want to go out and kill people to sacrifice your life, do you? Really? Don't you think every Russian soldier and Ukrainian soldier would rather be doing something else? Who got them into this mess? You don't want to know. You don't want to look into it because you already know. Petraeus told you on CNN. Anyway, enough of that. People coming back to the countryside, living on a smaller scale, making things work. That'd be nice to see, man. I'd love that. I'd love it, love it, love it. So I guess I'll just go down through. I like this village on this hill here. It's really a cute one. Nice little squares and cafes and whatnot. So that's pretty amazing, man. I was out for a long time riding, and I've only used a couple bars of electricity. So yeah, if I'm just leaving the electric motor off and just cycling, I have I got a good range, and the batteries are going to get better. So that's where my hope lies. I just want to see a lot of healthy, vibrant human beings who are doing really cool things and who really, really think that this world, this earth, Mother Earth, is sacred. It's beautiful and sacred, and that we don't need all the shit. We can still have some nice things to make our life healthier and more convenient. I wouldn't want to be a Luddite or go back to the way things were in the 15th century or whatever, Middle Ages. But I'd like to think things through: second, third, fourth order effects, externalities, collateral damage, destruction, death, sixth extinction, and try to mitigate and avoid as much of that as possible. You could probably take care of 8 billion people. And then you have these demographic debates. On one side, it's like, oh no, the population in China's not growing. It's going down. Oh my God, who's gonna buy the SpaghettiOs? And on the other side, it's like, problem is simple. Too many people. Yeah. Get rid of the people, get rid of the problem. Simple as that. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. Now, do you? So you're saying, all right, cool, so who gets to go? Who gets to die? Who decides? Hey, man, just use the old method, warfare. A small nuclear war would take care of it. It wouldn't wipe out all of humanity. Or, you know, you just, the rich Western world, by that I mean Western civilization, I mean the Anglo Western civilization. You got to tell the Anglo-Westerners where to stick it. No, you don't. The Anglo-Westerners have to tell you that you don't have a right to the stuff that they have. And that's the problem in America with healthcare. Oh, I want healthcare, but not for those people. So it's like, yeah, just, you know, I'm not really selling that much stuff to Indians or Chinese people, so they can go. And we can move in. Living space. Living space. Well, we've been down that road before, haven't we? And that wasn't too pleasant. And at the end of the Pinkarian day, we're still not in the best of all possible worlds. Plenty of challenges, plenty of existential threats. Most people here seem pretty happy, you know? I mean, I don't think people think like I do on a daily basis. They probably think that would be nuts. But